A man named Joshua had just settled into a new home when a series of unexplained incidents began terrorizing his family. Initially, everyone chalked it up to the typical creaks and groans of an aging house, until the afternoon his sister found herself there completely alone. Before long, strange sounds drifting up from the basement prompted her to pull out her phone and start filming.
I've been hearing some creepy noises down here for a while, and I'm scared. I wanted to try and record it, because no one's going to believe me. Now, as soon as I record it, nothing happens, okay? Huh? No. You gotta be. What the hell? This isn't funny. This has gotta be a prank. Hello? Oh, thank God. Hello? What the? Anybody else? No. Guys, this isn't funny. What the? No. Hello? Hello? I'm coming in. Skittles. Nothing. Okay, this is getting weird. What? Is that the chair? Oh, God. I'm getting out of this place.
As she descends the staircase, an unsettling feeling washes over her, the sense that something else is down there. A door crashes shut with force. The lights die all at once, and right as the darkness closes in, a light flickers on by itself in a nearby room. Within that dim glow, a shadow seems to drift slowly across the floor. She musters the nerve to check it out, but finds nothing there. Moments later, 3 heavy knocks ring out from somewhere she can't identify. Then, from another room, almost as though something is coaxing her further into the basement, she makes the decision to get out. Whatever was lurking down there, though, wasn't done with the family just yet.
I took that damn video every single night at the same time this knocking starts. Terrifying the first few days, but now it's just annoying the hell out of us. Yup, I hear ya. F***ing A. Nothing. Always nothing. Brand new house too. And now this door's open. Creepy ass fucking room. God fucking damn it. What? Oh my fucking God. Oh my God.
Not even 2 weeks passed before Joshua took it upon himself to figure out what was going on. Unlike his sister, he appears almost fearless. Each time a sound reaches his ears, he moves toward it, seemingly hell-bent on facing whatever might be hiding in the house. That all shifts the moment he approaches a room to switch off a light someone had left burning. The instant he extends his hand, a door violently slams right behind him. Caught off guard, Joshua spins around immediately, and within seconds a strange silhouette materializes inside the house enough to make him, for the very first time, retreat entirely. Among those who've watched the footage, one particular detail keeps coming up: the 3 knocks experienced by both Joshua and his sister. In many paranormal traditions, a pattern of 3 knocks is believed to carry deep spiritual significance, said to be a form of mockery employed by malevolent entities as a means of taunting or unsettling anyone who happens to be nearby. There's no evidence to back any of it up, of course. But for those who take this kind of phenomenon seriously, maybe those knocks were never something so simple. This last clip breathes new life into a conviction countless people have carried for years. Dogs can perceive things that are completely invisible to us. They fixate on empty corners, erupt into barking with no obvious trigger, or carry on as though an unseen presence is sharing the space with them. That is precisely what unfolded for a man named Steve, who is convinced his house is home to something he simply cannot account for. At first it was nothing more than a nagging gut feeling, no hard evidence to back it up, until he went back through footage recorded by his own pet and discovered something far more bizarre than he ever anticipated. On the recording, a woman's voice, one Steve doesn't recognize, can be heard speaking softly to the dog. What makes it even more unnerving is that the dog reacts as though it's following her commands. Steve is adamant that no one else was in the house with him and the dog that night, and yet the voice is absolutely clear. Then, just a few days after that, another clip picked up something even harder to shake. A see-through outline drifting slowly through the kitchen before disappearing entirely. No trick of the light, no camera glitch, just a faint, ghostly shape moving through the dark. Ever since, the disturbances have only grown more frequent. Footsteps, whispered sounds, and objects moving without anyone touching them. Was the dog reacting to something genuinely beyond our senses? Drop your thoughts below. A worried family from the Philippines set up a camera to keep watch over their elderly grandmother, who had been struggling with sleep paralysis. During one of her episodes, they managed to capture something on film that is genuinely difficult to shake. The footage reveals the unsettling outline of an enormous shadowy figure that seems to materialize from thin air. Alarmed by what she was seeing, the grandmother's daughter rushed in and frantically attempted to drive away the dark, looming presence. While plenty of viewers find the footage deeply convincing, others aren't so sure, arguing that the whole thing is simply a fly that happened to pass in front of the lens at just the right moment. But where do you stand on this one? Drop your thoughts below and let me know. A woman found herself home alone one afternoon when she began picking up on something that didn't feel quite right.
There's MacLeod. I'm home alone. It's like 3:40 in the afternoon, and I am hearing constant walking. I was in the downstairs bathroom that you walk down the stairs in, and I heard walking on the stairs, and it was either the basement or the third floor.
She says it was around 3 in the afternoon when she started picking up what sounded like someone pacing up and down the staircase.
I didn't catch anything. It's crazy. I just heard whispering behind me. Did you hear that? Jeez, that was my stomach, but I heard whispering behind my head. I feel like MacLeod always comes around too when things are sensed because Joe shows up. It's crazy. Let me see if she looks anywhere. That's the spot that I get creeped out at night.
Unsettled but curious, she made her way downstairs to see what was going on. Then, out of nowhere, she heard whispering directly behind her, and just like that, her nerves were shot.
Moving. And I also don't like the area over here between when I walk from my bathroom and I have to walk like through here. For some reason the area to the right gives me a bad feeling every time that I walk by in the night.
Trying to piece things together, she moved through the house and pointed out the specific spots where these unsettling experiences tend to occur.
And I just heard someone walking out here. See if we see anything.
Then the footsteps started up again. She was convinced someone else was in that house. She rushed over to look and found absolutely no one.
It's crazy. I'm gonna open the stairs to see. I hear anything. Yeah. Of course, that's Are you checking out Magnolia? I see like a brightness on the left. Okay, I don't usually like to walk up here.
Refusing to let it go, she headed upstairs and went through every single room looking for answers.
Because I opened it and they lost the past 2 games. So Sabres rule Y2K, I'm closing it. I'm gonna close this. Listen for anything. I didn't even realize that. I have had this open and they've lost the past 2 games. So, we're gonna shut this. Crazy. Shut this right up because, wow, I cannot believe that I may have caused that bad energy or helped it anyways. Okay, let's see if we hear anything else.
She took her time scanning the living room, ears tuned to every sound, but the place was dead quiet.
And now the dogs are barking. Awesome. Okay, I'm going back downstairs. Come over this. Okay. Yep.
Just when it seemed like things had finally settled down, the dogs on the lower floor erupted into barking. Sure that something was off, she hurried back downstairs. When she later posted the footage online, her viewers had plenty of theories to offer. One commenter claimed the curtains in the background could be seen shifting on their own. Someone else said they felt a dark, heavy energy radiating from the home throughout the entire video. So what do you think was actually going on in that house? The opening clip comes from the doorbell camera of a TikTok creator who goes by the villain it never was. The device's motion sensor triggered on something that left the person who posted it genuinely shaken. Just off to the right side of the porch, a pale, semi-transparent shape could be seen drifting through the air. Its motion looked purposeful and controlled as it swayed from side to side. At first glance, it resembled a stretched, rounded wisp of white smoke, but it gradually took on the appearance of a classic shadow figure. As usual, a portion of the audience chalked it up to lens artifacts or a stray puff of smoke, though the shape held its form throughout the footage. That kind of consistency isn't something you'd expect from simple camera glare. When the uploader went back to check the spot afterward, there was nothing there to explain it, and the mystery has gone unsolved ever since. Writing off every unexplained apparition caught on film as a trick of the lens doesn't make the woman named Rosanna purchased a home in France and relocated there. But from the moment she moved in, unsettling things began occurring around the property. She's now financially trapped and unable to leave, currently fighting a legal battle against her landlord to resolve the situation. In the meantime, she has no other option but to remain in that house by herself. Rosanna mentions that she always keeps the lights on throughout the night. She's someone who does manage to fall asleep, but consistently wakes up in the early hours of the morning. Then one night, she jolts awake to something absolutely terrifying.
Demain, sous l'abri du Très-Haut, repose à l'abri du Tout-Puissant. Je dis à l'Éternel, mon refuge et ma forteresse, mon Dieu, en qui je me confie. Car c'est lui qui te délivre du filet de la peste, l'oiseleur, et c'est il te fouillera de ses pleurs.
A dark, smoky mist appears to flood her hallway and gradually drifts into her bedroom, only vanishing the moment she switches the lights back on. Then, a few weeks down the line, something that will genuinely make your skin crawl takes place. Rosanna points out that only 2 residents occupy her building herself and the elderly woman living in the unit below, who has always kept her distance. Rosanna always found her a little odd, but never gave it much thought. Then, deep into one particular night, she hears a noise something is rattling violently at her front door.
Arrêtez! Arrêtez! Vous voulez quoi? Arrêtez! Parlez, merde!
The door shakes with force, and with no idea who or what could be responsible, she chooses not to answer, and eventually it stops. Then, at around 3:47 in the morning, it starts up again, and this time she gets it on camera.
Je n'en peux plus. Je n'en peux plus. Bon allez, j'appelle les flics. 4h du matin. T'arrives. Elle est dans le noir. Elle est dans le noir. Putain. Je vais péter un câble. Je vais péter un câble. C'est quoi ces yeux? C'est pas ces yeux. Non, 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 non. Non, non, non.
Looking through the peephole, there's nothing but darkness then. As she cracks the door open, a deeply unsettling face peers through the gap, and she immediately slams it shut. What makes the whole thing even more disturbing is that beyond the bizarre late-night behavior, this woman also has strikingly dilated, jet black eyes, leading Rosanna and countless viewers to wonder whether she might be under some kind of supernatural influence, and whether she could be connected to everything that has plagued Rosanna's home for nearly 2 years. Rosanna intends to approach her in daylight the next time their paths cross, but I'll leave you to form your own conclusions on this one. The true origin of this next clip remains a mystery, as it has been shared and re-uploaded so many times that the original source has been completely lost. The footage itself appears to come from a hotel security camera positioned inside a laundry room. Staff noticed a series of strange disturbances occurring in that space and decided to pull up the camera recordings to find out what was going on. What they discovered lurking in the shadows is genuinely unsettling.
Видел, какой шайтан ходит?
Тихо, не матюкайся, давай снимай. Я вам говорю, это не серьезно. О. Высота. Стоп, это что такое? Все? Откроется обратно. Да? Да. Ну, еще двинулся, видишь? Угу.
Right away, you can watch one of the large laundry baskets begin to move with no one anywhere near it. It gets pulled across the floor almost as if something is guiding it with purpose. And then, did you catch that? Deep in the darkened hallway beyond, a disturbing shadow figure suddenly appears. When the footage is zoomed in and the exposure is lifted, what comes into focus looks unmistakably like a full apparition drifting slowly from one side to the other. The moment it moves past, the door crashes shut with force completely on its own. It's almost as though whatever was out there didn't appreciate being observed and made absolutely sure everyone knew it. This clip was originally posted to the YouTube channel shown on your screen. Two friends decided to venture into an abandoned structure in the middle of the night, carrying only flashlights and a whole lot of curiosity. Their goal was to finally get to the bottom of the mysterious sounds they'd encountered on earlier visits. They figured it would be a straightforward walk through some dark hallways. They had absolutely no idea what was waiting for them. Did you catch that? Right as they round the corner, all the way at the far end of the corridor, a see-through figure appears to slowly rise up, drifting silently into the air without making a sound. It's hard to say whether they spotted it in real time or only realized what they'd captured when they went back through the footage afterward. Either way, that image is genuinely unsettling. So where do you stand on this one? Was this a real brush with the paranormal, or does a rational explanation exist? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. One night, a woman named Anne was relaxing in bed when her phone suddenly buzzed with an alert from her outdoor security camera. She opened the footage with curiosity, but nothing could have prepared her for what was lurking in her yard. Just past her front door, a set of bizarre figures comes creeping into view. Something tears across the yard, moving on all fours. The creature looks almost human at first glance, but there's clearly something deeply wrong with it. Its frame is disturbingly slender, with limbs that stretch far beyond what you'd expect on any normal person. What's even more unsettling is how it moves scrambling across the ground with the speed and low posture of a wild animal. But whatever this thing is, it doesn't match anything from the animal kingdom either. And here's where it gets even stranger. Does it have a full set of limbs? Is that a foot? Or half an arm that's been through some kind of transformation? Honestly, it's impossible to say. At this point, Anne probably doesn't know whether to dial a wildlife specialist, her local priest, or send in an entire tactical response unit. A woman out on a hike came across an old rural mansion and pulled out her phone to capture the striking building on video. The property appeared completely abandoned, with nothing to suggest anyone was present inside. She kept the camera rolling as she took in the architecture, completely unaware that anything was off. It wasn't until people reviewed the footage afterward that something deeply unsettling was noticed. See for yourself what the camera picked up.
But it must have been gorgeous in its stay. It's absolutely, I could just imagine walking around here in some fancy dress or something.
For just a fleeting second, what looks like the face of a young child can be seen peering out from one of the upper floor windows, something the woman filming never caught at the time. There are those who argue it was simply a person inside the building, but others find that explanation hard to accept, and the whole thing remains very much up for debate. A surveillance camera recorded a black sedan cutting through traffic on a crowded Florida highway. The other drivers held their lanes, completely unaware that a vehicle moving at an almost unimaginable speed was about to enter their world. In a matter of seconds, that brief stretch of road would become the center of a major criminal investigation. Authorities identified the driver as Markovius Wheaton, who had first drawn the attention of members of the Seminole Collaborative and Opioid Response effort during a planned traffic stop. But what unfolded next looked nothing like the chase most people would picture. When deputies switched on their lights and siren, investigators say Wheaton hit the gas instead of pulling over. Rather than pushing a high-speed pursuit through public streets, deputies made a deliberate call. They pulled back. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office pursuit policy directs deputies to terminate a chase whenever the risk to the public exceeds the benefit of continuing. Officials later confirmed that emergency lights were shut off, ground units stood down, and the vehicle was tracked from the sky instead. For close to 17 minutes, the department's helicopter kept watch from above. On the ground, there were no patrol cars, no cruisers pushing the sedan forward. Yet according to investigators, the driver kept speeding regardless. Court documents state the car hit speeds exceeding 110 miles per hour at certain points. It reportedly crossed into oncoming lanes, passed vehicles by using the shoulder, and ran through multiple red lights, even with no police units directly on its tail. Then came the moment investigators say changed everything. As the sedan approached the intersection of US Highway 1792 and Sunnitown Road, it entered that intersection at a speed estimated to be well above 100 miles per hour. Surveillance footage caught the impact. The sedan slammed into another vehicle and sent it careening across the intersection. Moments later, the suspect's car came to rest and burst into flames. Emergency calls poured into dispatch as witnesses struggled to put into words what they had just witnessed. For the people inside the other vehicle, there had been no chance to react. Investigators identified the victims as Christopher Marrier and Tyler Marrier, two brothers who were both pronounced dead at the scene, as their family tried to absorb the loss. A fuller picture of Christopher began to take shape. He had previously worked as a police officer in Southwest Florida before going on to become an assistant professor in the University of Central Florida's Department of Criminal Justice. Those who knew him described a dedicated educator who genuinely cared about his students and the purpose behind his work. His son later spoke of him as the best father he could have ever hoped for someone who always seemed to know exactly what to say when life got hard. Investigators arrested Wheaton after he was taken to a hospital following the crash. Court records indicate he was already serving a probation sentence at the time of the incident. Authorities also disclosed that the original traffic stop had been attempted based on intelligence gathered through an ongoing investigation, combined with his prior criminal record. As the case continues working its way through the legal system, a parallel conversation has refused to go quiet. Did law enforcement make the right call by standing down the ground pursuit? Independent analysts who examined the sheriff's policy said the decision appeared to align with procedures specifically designed to shield the public from the hazards of prolonged high-speed chases. The helicopter never pressured the driver to keep going. According to investigators, that choice was his and his alone. The footage from that day captures only a few seconds of the collision itself, but the questions it leaves behind are far weightier, serving as a stark reminder that some of the hardest decisions in law enforcement come in the moments when officers choose not to give chase, hoping that restraint will still be enough to prevent the very worst from happening. MacLeod is a veteran paranormal investigator based out of Egypt who has built his reputation by streaming live walkthroughs of derelict buildings for his followers. He's particularly well known for his fearlessness rather than keeping his distance. He tends to rush straight toward whatever strange activity he encounters to get as close as possible. In this footage, he's making his way through an abandoned factory where the entire ground level sits submerged under a layer of motionless water. But once he climbs to the upper floor, things get genuinely unsettling.
بسم الله أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله لا إله إلا الله بصد دي بس قفل كده أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم حصنت نفسي بالحي الذي لا يموت لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله ألف عليه لو في جن أو مارد أو عفريت، خادم سحر أو خادمة سحر، موكل بسحر، موكل بطلسم، اديني إشارة وأنا أطلع من المكان. لا عشان البندي أحيانا بتعلق. بسم الله بسم الله بسم الله، حصنت نفسي بالحي الذي لا يموت. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اوف أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
Let's break down what's actually happening in this remarkable encounter. It starts when Khalid notices an old bathroom door suddenly slam itself shut right before his eyes. Staying true to his instincts, he pushes straight inside to check it out, only to find the room completely deserted. Then, just as he turns to walk out, the door swings closed behind him with no explanation. At that point, Khalid decides to run an experiment. He positions himself nearby and watches as the door slowly pulls itself fully closed without anyone touching it. To rule out any tricks, he throws it open and angles the camera to show there's nowhere behind it that anyone could possibly be concealed. He even re-enters the bathroom and stands there waiting, and sure enough, the door shifts again while he's right there watching it happen. Eventually deciding he's seen more than enough, Khalid heads for the exit, but the moment he walks away, the sound of shattering glass erupts from inside that very same empty bathroom. Whatever was occupying that room clearly wasn't ready to let him leave without a final reminder that it was still there. In the closing clip of this video, a man named Daniel explains that he'd been carrying an immense weight of guilt ever since losing his father. The two had been estranged for years before the death occurred, and Daniel says that from the moment he returned home after the funeral, things were never the same. Initially, the signs were easy to dismiss: faint knocking sounds drifting through the hallway in the dead of night, and objects that seemed to reposition themselves when no one was around. Daniel kept telling himself it was nothing more than stress, grief, and exhaustion catching up with him. Then one evening, as he sat alone in the living room, his piano spontaneously started producing notes, all on its own. Shaken to his core, he immediately pulled out his phone and hit record. But if he thought that was the worst of it, he was wrong. The activity only escalated from there. See for yourself what his camera captured.
En el nombre de Jesús te ordeno que te vayas. En el nombre de Jesús ordeno que te vayas. No tienes derecho de estar aquí. Ordeno que te vas. Ordeno que te vas en el nombre de Jesús.
Over the following days, the supernatural events grew far more intense and harder to ignore. This is what happened next.
Santo Dios. Tumbaron el casco. Hay una mano allí. Oh, eso es una mano. Oh, Dios mío. ¿Quién está ahí? Voy a tener que ir a mirar. Pareció ver una mano. Pareció ver una mano, Dios.
Kitchen cabinets swung open on their own, and dark silhouettes briefly materialized in the corners of rooms before disappearing without a trace. Desperate for some kind of relief, Daniel attempted to cleanse the home through prayer and religious music. Convinced that something sinister had followed him back, the situation worsened further when his girlfriend began encountering the same terrifying phenomena. Then one night, the two were jolted awake by the unmistakable sound of glass breaking somewhere in the kitchen. Here's the moment.
Bueno, voy a grabar este video porque nuevamente se están escuchando en el apartamento ruidos. Son las 3 de la mañana con 16 minutos y...
Escucha.
Sí, amor, sí se escucha. ¿Es en la sala?
Sí. Escucha.
Esta vez no estoy solo, esta vez estoy con mi novia que por fin decidió venir a acompañarme, pues estaba asustada debido a todas estas cosas que están pasando. ¿Dónde es eso, amor?
La cocina.
¿Qué fue eso?
Se cayó.
Yo voy a mirar. Quédese aquí, amor, quédese aquí. Señor bendito. Amor, quédese acá, yo voy solo, amor.
No, yo no.
Prenda la luz. Se ve todo tranquilo por acá. En el nombre de Jesús, manifiéstate. Parece que es en la cocina. En el nombre de Jesús, manifiéstate. Vaya para el cuarto, amor.
No.
¿Qué fue eso? ¿Estás viendo, amor? ¿Estás viendo? Es en la cocina, amor. Cuidado con la cocina. Manifiéstate en el nombre de Jesús. Te ordeno que te manifiestes. ¿Qué fue lo que sonó así ahorita, amor?
La cocina.
Mierda. Mira, amor, mira. ¿Ves que no me tiras, amor? Es un vaso. Es sin vaso. Y mira, todos los cajones están abiertos.
Deep in the Indonesian countryside, late at night, two friends were out on their motorbikes, cutting through the rural darkness. They were making their way along an old plantation road when one of the bikes suddenly gave out. The surrounding area has a local reputation for encounters with the kuntilanak, a fearsome female spirit deeply rooted in Indonesian folklore. One of the men got to work trying to fix the bike while the other stepped away and pulled out his camera to document what was happening. But what that camera captured was something neither of them could have anticipated.
Eta tukangan Iya. Astagfirullahaladzim. Naon eta euy?
Creeping out from the tree line directly behind the man, a shadowy figure slowly comes into view. It lingers just a few feet away, completely still, doing nothing but staring. The friend behind the camera begins yelling desperately, trying to get his attention, and the moment the man turns around and comes face to face with whatever is standing there, the footage dies. He later said that both of them made it home without harm, but the memory of breaking down on that pitch-black plantation road is something that will haunt them for the rest of their lives. Most people set up home security cameras to check in on their animals, not to document something they can't explain, but that's exactly what one homeowner stumbled across when he reviewed his footage. Late at night, with the living room completely still and quiet, a solid rocking chair starts moving by itself. There's no open window, no ceiling fan spinning, no wild weather outside that could account for it. But it doesn't stop there. At a certain moment, the chair lurches forward, almost as though someone had just risen from it. It's a deliberate, weighted movement, nothing like a random tremor or a slight vibration from passing traffic. So was there some kind of physical explanation the camera simply couldn't pick up? Or was there an unseen presence making itself at home in that living room? A man uploaded a chilling clip to Reddit, captured by his backyard security camera at roughly 9:30 in the evening. In the recording, his dog stands rigid, barking furiously as though it had detected something lurking nearby. Then things took a deeply unsettling turn. Judge for yourself what the camera caught. Out of nowhere, a pair of faintly translucent dark legs come into frame, sprinting alongside the house. They're unmistakably human legs, yet there's no torso, no upper body, nothing above the waist at all. You can even see the dog spot the figure and lunge after it. What makes this even harder to shake is that a neighbor just down the street had their own security camera rolling that same night, and it picked up the exact same thing. Numerous people living in the surrounding area reported hearing bizarre noises that night, and their dogs apparently wouldn't stop barking for hours. So what's your theory what could possibly explain something like this? Liz Cruz, a tattoo artist operating out of her home studio in Erie, Pennsylvania, is in the middle of working on a client when things take a deeply unsettling turn.
Like adjusting the wheel a little bit, and we'll let that bezel dry for a couple minutes so it doesn't rub off. I think I want to do the better than black. Just that heart reading. Yeah, definitely. I think that would look really cute. Like, especially, like, if I, like, blend it in, I'm going to blend it together. What's wrong? What happened? The table just moved. What the f*** you mean the table just moved? It just f***ing moved. In the name of Jesus, leave us the f*** alone. What do you mean? I swear to God.
Her supply table suddenly rolls away on its own, no one anywhere near it. Both Liz and her client are rattled, but they try to hold it together. Then a chair violently jerks away from a nearby table, and that's all it takes. The two of them abandon everything and bolt out of there. Liz has since said she still can't explain what went on that day, but her belief is that what they encountered was something she describes as, quote, far beyond at night. TikTok user Amorous on X uploads footage of what they describe as paranormal activity taking place within their house. In this particular clip, the camera is aimed at a bedroom door with a bag dangling from the handle. Everything is quiet and nothing seems out of the ordinary at first glance. Then, the person holding the camera notices something near the doorway. Here's what they managed to record.
La sangre de Cristo tiene poder, la sangre de Cristo tiene poder. ¡A la madre, puta puta! ¡Hijo de tu puta madre, güey! ¡Oh, su virga, güey! ¡Oh!
On the surface, it could just be a partially open door leading into an unlit room, but as the camera gradually inches toward that narrow gap, the atmosphere grows harder to shake off. Something seems to be lurking just past the door, swallowed up by the shadows. Keep your eyes on the darkness.
La sangre de Cristo tiene poder, la sangre de Cristo tiene poder. ¡A la madre!
Within the gap alongside the door, the shadow almost takes on the silhouette of a figure, standing perfectly still. It never fully emerges or produces any noise. Instead, it appears to stay concealed, as if some unseen presence is quietly observing from within the room. Then things get considerably more disturbing.
¡Oh, su madre! No mames, cabrón. ¡Lárgate! ¡Lárgate!
So was this nothing but a staged prank shot inside a darkened bedroom? Or did he actually document something far more sinister lurking in his home? And if something truly was crouched behind that door, what kind of entity could have been moving around in there? On April 4th, 2020, a TikTok user by the name of Lauren Rose uploaded a video to her account after noticing her pet cat acting in a very peculiar way. The cat seems completely locked onto something just past the edge of the couch. Its body language alone suggests it's deeply unsettled, almost as though it's reacting to a presence that Lauren herself cannot detect. Then, just a few seconds in, something odd shows up in the background. Just behind the couch, what looks like a dark, shadowy figure can be spotted slowly moving across the room before vanishing entirely from the frame. Lauren's immediate reaction is an audible "oh my god," though somehow she manages to keep herself remarkably composed given what had just unfolded in front of her. It's the combination of the figure's timing and the cat's prior behavior that so many viewers found particularly chilling. Now, not everybody is a believer. There are those who think the whole thing could have been set up, while others consider it one of the more compelling ghost clips to ever surface online. What makes it all the more frustrating is that Lauren never posted any follow-up content addressing what took place, leaving the whole situation without any real closure. So what do you think was moving through Lauren's home that day? A carefully constructed hoax? Or did her cat genuinely sense something sinister lurking nearby? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and in our opening security footage, a staff member goes about their routine, tidying up the restaurant without a care in the world. Nothing seems out of the ordinary until it suddenly does. Later on that very same day, a separate camera elsewhere in the restaurant picked up something that managed to be even more disturbing. The clips generated so much buzz that they reportedly made it onto Ecuadorian television broadcasts. Ever since, plenty of people have been convinced the place is haunted, though not everyone is buying it. Now that you've seen the footage yourself,